Hey guys, how's it going? This is Eddie from Tier Zero Support. This is a brand new channel dedicated to creating videos that explain popular topics that are searched about whenever you're trying to do certain things within a computer, like in Windows, adding a printer, getting connected to a network, accessing VPN, typical things like that, or troubleshooting overall. We're gonna go ahead and get today's video started with adding a printer. So adding a printer is one of the most common things that we run into in the IT world. So this is a very good skill to have. I'm gonna go ahead and go down to the bottom left and go to Start. Once you're there, go ahead and click on the Settings button. And then this will actually open up the Windows settings, the new application. I say this as a new because it will eventually replace Control Panel. If you go into Devices, and then on the left-hand side, Printers, you're going to want to go ahead and add a printer or scanner right here at the top. This will go ahead and scan your internal network. So if you're connected to Wi-Fi, if you're connected via Ethernet, it's going to go ahead and scan your whole network so it could find the printer. Once it finds your printer, go ahead and add the device. Typically, this is a pretty quick process. The place where it becomes a little bit difficult is if your printer doesn't show up here automatically. And I'll show you what to do if that happens in a few minutes. All right, so the printer added, and now I can show you guys here under printers and scanners. You will see that HP DeskJet 3630 is now under here. If you wanted to set this as your default printer, you want to go into Manage and then Set as Default. And then that way, whenever you're printing something, is going to be the first thing selected, and you don't have to go through like a list of printers. All right, so I'm going to show you guys how to add the printer a second way, which is using the control panel. If you go down to the bottom left, type in control. This will bring up the control panel as a best match here. If that doesn't pop up, you can always do Windows R, which is a keyboard combination with a Windows key and then the letter R for run. It'll bring up a run box where you can type in control, and that will open up the control panel as well. Once you're in here, if you don't see your control panel this way, you can change the view up here. You can change it back to category, which is the default setting. And then you'll see here, view devices and printer. So once you're in here, you're going to see that all of our printers and all of our devices are going to be shown. So from the last example, we added our printer using the settings app. So here it is. I'm going to go ahead and remove it. And that's the step. If you need to ever remove any printer, you can just right click on it and then remove device. Once we go up here, you can go and add a printer. Once you click on add a printer, you will see that it's going to scan your network just like how it was doing it with the settings app. And now I'm going to also, this would be the same process. So if you just go and click on next and then just follow through the prompts, it'll go ahead and add the printer. However, if your printer is not showing up here and you know you added your printer via Wi-Fi and it's just not coming up at all, what I suggest is reading through the manual of your printer, specific printer, because printers are all different types of machines and they might have a screen, might not have a screen, but usually there's a way to get the network configuration printed out, or on the screen it might go, if you go through settings and then network settings, something like that, you'll eventually find the IP address for your printer. All right, so once you get your printer IP address, what you want to do is open up a web browser like I have here. I have Firefox open. Type in the IP address for your printer on the address bar. And then once the web page opens, you're going to go through your settings and locate networking or network setting where it's going to say IPv4 address. Once you locate that, what you want to do is switch it from automatic, or DHCP is another keyword for automatic, um, and switch it to manual or static, which is another word that they commonly use. And make sure that the manual IP address is filled out to be the same as you have it here. So mine is correct. The manual subnet mask, typically this will be the same. So if you see this on my video, you should be able to apply this to yours, unless like you're living in like some sort of like really corporate environment. It might be different. In any case, if you're trying to do this for your work laptop or work printer, I would suggest contacting your IT help desk, or having somebody that is qualified to do the actual printer setup. Um, but I digress. If this is a home setup, it's your home environment. So typically this is the the usual subnet mask. So you should be able to copy this over. And then manual default gateway, yours might be a little bit different. Typically the gateway, if your IP address is 192.168.1 and then a bunch of different numbers here, what you want to do is just basically copy everything in the beginning, and then at the end it's going to be 1. It's always typically it's always 1, especially with home routers and home networking equipment. It's always going to end with 1. um, I haven't seen many other default gateways. And you go ahead and click apply. The DNS settings, usually it will be the same as your default gateway, so just remember that. Once you have applied a manual or static IP address, what you want to do is go back over to your control panel, and then when we were about to add the printer with the IP address, go ahead and click on next. All right, so now that it's basically prompting you for the driver, here, we are presented with a case where you're trying to add it manually, or sometimes this might even pop up if your printer is being added and Windows cannot identify or locate a driver for your printer. You'll see the manufacturer, you're like, okay, my printer is an HP, but I don't see an HP within my list here, right? So what you need to do is go over to HP's website and look for the driver. So usually what I do is type in the printer and then type in driver right afterwards. And this check is just because I'm on a VPN right now. What you want to do is usually click on the first or second link, depending if you have ads. Sometimes the top suggestions will be ads via Google, so be careful with that. Make sure this is hp.com or Canon or whichever other company. And then what you want to do, go down to basic drivers or just driver. You'll find like a download, and usually it's pretty quick and easy. I'll go ahead and download this. And I had already downloaded it once before, but it is okay. Once that finishes, go ahead and open the file. Many times this will automatically install the drivers to your Windows installation. And then what we actually have to do is go back. Oh, actually, I have to wait till it installs the driver, but okay, actually, HP's printer drivers might actually install the printer itself as well. So I've seen that too. So sometimes the printer software, once you download it, it's going to go ahead and add the printer too. Right, so here you see the connection options, automatic setup. You go click on next, and it's going to go ahead and check your network environment. And here it is. It found it right away with that IP address. All right, so now that the software has been installed, it should be installed here, but I see that the status is under driver is unavailable. So this is something that's common, and you'll see it every now and then. What you want to do is remove the device, and then we're going to go ahead and click on add a printer. Click on the printer that I want isn't listed. If your printer doesn't show up here, this is what you click on. Once you click on IP address, go ahead and type in that IP address. All right, so I went ahead and found the printer driver automatically. And then we just got to go ahead and click on next. All right, so now that it's finished adding the printer, what we have to do is you can set it as a default printer, and then you can also print a test page just to make sure that your printer is going to print out the pages that you need it to print out. So once that's done, click on finish, and then you should see that it's down here, and then here's my printer name, and then I could set it as a default printer by right-clicking on it and then checking this, or right-clicking on that, and then you'll see the check mark come over here to that printer. So that makes it every time when you're trying to print something, you don't have to look through the list of printers. It's automatically already selected. That's a really nice thing for convenience. Regardless, that should be most scenarios with adding a printer. If there are any things that I missed or something's coming up and I didn't cover it, go ahead and leave that comment in the bottom of the video here, and then don't forget to like, subscribe, share with your friends, colleagues, friends, family, everybody. Just go ahead and share that video. It's really good information if you ever need to add a printer to your computer. All right, see ya.